listening to an ATYL Media production.
We're here at Southern National Motorsports Park. This is Speed Week. 5 races across 4 days, displayed in anger, late model stock's best, put on a week's worth of excitement and fierce competition. But through it all, Matt Cox and the Airstream machine had a dream week in Lucama. This is Saturday night. On tour from Southern National Motorsports Park Speed Week starts right now.
Everyone wants to be there on Sunday, but as every short tracker will tell you, there is no Sunday without Saturday night. And every week, all across the nation, late models own Saturday night. This is the ballad of the sport's backbone, its hometown, its weekly star, and its greatest racing. This is Saturday night. This is On Tour. Welcome back to On Tour. My name is Buddy Pulley. I'm a writer for Short Track Scene, and I head up the late model coverage here on ATYL Media. Joined by my co-host, play-by-play announcer at Ace Speedway and play-by-play announcer at this past week's Speed Week at Southern National Motorsports Park. Easy enough for me to say. My friend and yours, Chase Folsom, or of course, we know him on the show as Chuck. Chuck, how you doing?
Good. My voice is recovering. I had to yap into a microphone for 7 hours for 4 days straight, which is a privilege. But I had a fun time watching you walk around and get cardio in the hot sun in my nice air-conditioned booth.
Yeah. Air Force One's on the ground and in motion. Actually, they're more like Vans Ultra Range this week. But neither here
Had them
nor
walking
there.
shoes on.
Had them walking shoes on. Yeah, I'm glad you were recovering from you talking into a microphone and you're here with us to talk more into a microphone. But before we get into all the coverage from Speed Week, we do have some news and notes, so let's get to it. Brexton Busch to make his full-body stock car debut in a junior late model at Madera Speedway in California. Track TV offers 50% off of fans with their People's Champ promotion. Every driver in the ASA divisions will have their own promo code, and whoever has the most usages of that promo code will get a $5,000 bonus at the end of the year, and a big win for the fans, getting 50% off Track TV. Carson Hayslip and Michael Bumgarner are announced as 2 of the 5 finalists in the Quickie Driver Development Program. The last 3 will be announced later this week. Cletus McFarland, he's been making a lot of waves lately. He said on the Dale Jr. Download this week that he acquired a pro late model and intends to race it later on this year, likely at the Freedom Factory. And lastly, Hickory Motor Speedway, after many years, finally is getting a repave. Chuck, you are you call Hickory your home track. I know you have some strong opinions about this.
I do call Hickory my home track. Sometimes I wish I didn't. I don't know, man. I'm not a big fan on repaves, and I just think that track has so much character, and it really brings the best out of a late model stock car driver. It's very technical. It's very unique. And I'm disappointed that it's going to just get run over with some fresh asphalt and be just like the track down the road or any of the other tracks that are getting repaved. The one good thing about Hickory is the track surface. Some people may disagree with me, but I hate that it's going to get repaved.
I think I listened to Landon Huffman's podcast this week, and he mentioned a couple of good things that I think would be good to bring up. One, this means that money is being invested in the Hickory Motor Speedway, which has been a question.
Struggle.
Well, yeah, a question and a struggle for sure. 2, this may increase car counts because, as we know now, the rough surface at Hickory tears up equipment, and a repave may increase car counts. Now, there's something to be said about repaves and being ultra fast and causing big wrecks that equally tear up equipment, but that's neither here nor there. That's why we run the race. And then lastly, I was out at the 50 grand race at Hickory this year, where it rained 3 days straight, and how hard it is to dry that racetrack. I am welcoming a repave to Hickory Motor Speedway, but all good things must come to an end, and we'll watch Hickory get a fresh coat of asphalt and go on down the road. Moving on to the topic of this episode, Speed Week at Southern National Motorsports Park. 5 races across 4 nights of racing. Let's take a look at the winners from the week. Wednesday night was the longest race of the 5 races during Speed Week, 125 laps in the Jerry Moody Memorial, and it was also the second race of the I-95 Showdown for 2026. It was won by Landen Lewis in an epic battle between Kaden Honeycutt and the 29 car. We'll talk more about that later. This marks the second victory for KHI in the I-95 Showdown, dating back to Keelan's win in the Icebreaker. Race 2 and Race 3 were both held on Thursday night in a doubleheader. Kaden Honeycutt got redemption for night number 1, and Matt Cox would start his 3-race stretch, leading him to a championship, winning the second of 2 30-lap features on Thursday night. Of course, Race 4, Matt Cox won a very eventful 50-lap feature. We will talk more about that here in just a few minutes. And then Race 5, the 100-lap finale, Matt Cox, as you see here, took victory for the 3rd race in a row. Chuck, the 125-lap feature on Wednesday to kick us off was maybe one of the most exciting late model stock races I've seen at Southern National Motorsports Park since I saw a race very similar to this a couple years ago in the Thanksgiving Classic. Kaden Honeycutt, Landen Lewis, they put on a hell of a show.
It was one of the most fun late model stock car races I've seen, period. Not just at Southern National. It got down to the final 40 laps or so, and Kaden and Landen started working that lap traffic, and man, that was so fun to be in the broadcast booth. It's like RJ and I are sitting there going back and forth, and I couldn't wait for him to stop talking because I wanted to start talking about it. And I could feel him sitting next to me like, all right, my turn. It was great. Like, they make my job really easy when they do that, because there's no shortage of things to talk about. It's all right there in front of you. It's just don't trip over your words. And that's what late model stock car racing's all about, man. They didn't wreck each other. They used the bumper. Nobody went around. They worked through lap traffic. Some lap traffic was in the way. No, that was grade A stuff. So shout out to Kaden and Landen for racing each other hard, but not too hard.
Yeah, I heard someone describe it as a tennis match, almost. And it made sense, though, because the ball goes over here and the ball goes over there. It goes back and forth.
Yeah.
And that's what it felt like standing in turn number 1, because one lap it would be Landen Lewis, the next lap it would be Kaden Honeycutt, and then the next lap it would be Landen Lewis, and then so on and so forth, until Landen Lewis finally did get clear of Kaden Honeycutt and drove off with the victory. Yeah, shades of the 2023 Thanksgiving Classic with Butterbean, Josh Berry, and what do you know, Kaden Honeycutt, and he'll remind you that he finished second in that race as well. This is not the last we'll see of Landen Lewis in the late model stock divisions later on this year. Announcement pending coming down the road. Let's hear from Landen Lewis and Kaden Honeycutt after their epic battle on Wednesday night at Southern National.
I mean, it was a blast. I like this place in a late model. I've never raced here in a late model, but it's a pretty fun track. I felt like me and him were really even. I felt like we were tit for tat. Just lap traffic definitely played a big factor in that. And he slipped up getting into 3, and I was able to get by him, and then he started moving me. So we kept going back and forth, which, you know, at the end of the day, we didn't wreck each other. We raced each other with respect, in my opinion, and I thought it put on a good show. Just, again, super proud to be a part of this KHI group. I feel like our momentum right now is really good. With Keelan winning and now me winning, we're 2 for 2 on the year, and I just feel like things are going really well for us right now. But, you know, like I tell everyone every time I talk, it's like you can't stop working, because eventually that momentum runs out and you got to get back to work. So that's the kind of attitude that we have here as a group is, at the end of the day, they're never perfect. You know, we won tonight, but they can always be better. So that's kind of the attitude that Kevin has put into our brains, and I feel like it helps, and it's going a long way.
Yeah, I tried to take control right before that caution. I think like 40 or something. I wanted to get in clean air and get some good air on the tires, try to relieve them. But unfortunately, I just didn't have it right there the last 40. I feel like he had a little bit better straight line drive. But yeah, he really only caught me whenever I got into lap traffic, and I'm surprised the back bumper didn't fall off the thing for how hard he hit it every time. But yeah, that's just the way it goes now. So just happy to get a second. We've been so close here at Southern National. We've been really, really good. So thanks Faithful Leading Air, 5-star bodies, Hellraiser Jack, Charlie Long Racing Engines, Toyota, Safe Flight, and everyone lets me do this.
Night number 2 was a double-header, 2 30-lap features, and it was rather procedural. Kaden Honeycutt, of course, got redemption for night number 1, and he said the key to success for sweeping the night would be the pill draw. Spoiler alert, he did not get it. He drew number 4, and his proclamation came true because Matt Cox got the number 1 pill and took victory. Night number 3, we expected maybe just as procedural of a race in the 50-lap feature, and it was anything but. It became Groundhog Day rather quickly as we got the 19 laps to go. Caleb Johnson spun, bringing out the first caution of the night. On the ensuing restart, it was the 44 car of Dylan Newsom who jumped the restart, causing us to restart, still with 19 laps to go. Chase Bergeson misses a shift. We'll talk more about that later. So then we restart again with 19 laps to go, and we almost made it around to 18 to go until the big incident of the night. Wyatt Miller makes a run at Matthew LaPrade, underneath him 3 wide going into turn 3. As you can see, it does not work. He ends up on top of the number 27 car. If you're wondering Wyatt Miller's tire pressure, I'm sure Matthew LaPrade could have told you as he looked out the side of his Tom Osry Racing convertible. Chuck, this was the conversation of the night and really of the entire week. What was, from your point of view, high atop the grandstands of the incident?
Well, I had a better view at it than anybody else, because I was in the booth and I had a big old screen right in front of me. And they came off at 2, and I looked down at the screen and I said, no. And I looked back up and I was like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Because RJ was calling him down the back. It's like, don't do it, Wyatt. Don't. Oh, no, he did. Oh, okay. So you've seen the incident. That was what ran through my head as I tried my best to not blurt out, the thoughts in my head. And this is a really big learning moment for Wyatt Miller. I don't think anybody should bash him. Every 14-year-old has screwed up like this, if not way worse. The problem is he's Dale Earnhardt's grandson. So he's going to get a whole lot of scrutiny for an incident that is pretty typical for a 14-year-old. And other 14-year-olds, their dads would be getting yelled at. Oh, why are you letting him race in this class? Da, 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 da. But when you're an Earnhardt or of Earnhardt lineage, the expectations are unreasonably different. And whether or not you agree with the unreasonably label, I believe they are. And he's going to get compared to Dale and Junior for his entire career. And when he makes a mistake that a typical 14-year-old would, he's going to get treated unfairly for it. And this is the moment where he starts to learn what that pressure is like to deal with and how he has to tune that noise out. The incident wasn't great, but he's got a lot of talent and he'll learn from it.
Yeah, it definitely, ownership definitely weighs on the side of the 73 for sure. But I think there's something to be said too, especially in late model racing, know who you're racing. Yeah. The conversation of whether or not 13, 14-year-olds should be racing, I think it's a case-by-case basis. I think Wyatt Miller has done plenty to prove that he is worthy enough to be behind the wheel of a late model stock based on, other accomplishments in dirt racing, trophy trucks. He's a very accomplished race car driver, even at 14. But back to the point, know who you're racing, and that comes down to maybe spotter or even the driver at 27, Matthew Parade himself, in that, okay, whether Wyatt Miller, you can consider him there or not there coming down the back stretch. He had a fender right there on the 27. That judgment, that's up for debate. But you kind of got to look at it as, is this person, let me think about who I'm racing. Is this person going to sit it in? Do I need to give that extra inch? Do I need to race this person? Am I racing Jared Fryer or am I racing Wyatt Miller? And that needs to come into play. And I feel like that is where maybe a smidge of ownership comes on the shoulders of the 27 team and Matthew Parade as well. So I think you said it very eloquently that Wyatt Miller has a lot of pressure on him, and that's pressure that's never going to go away. And based on talking to him after the race, that's pressure that he's not too terribly worried about. As for the rest of the night for him, he was able to get back in that 73 car and finish the race. Had a lot of gumption, for sure, getting back behind the wheel. Shades of Earnhardt, Daytona 97. Damn thing up in the air and maybe not flipped over, but he hopped back in that thing and finished the deal. Anything else on Wyatt Miller before we hear from the man himself? All right. So overall, I think maybe a little bit more in the headlines than they would elect to be all week long for Wyatt Miller. But I think there was progression through the week. I think you look at his first couple races in the week, it was merely pedestrian. But I think as the week went on, he got a little bit more competitive, maybe overzealous at times. But that's racing. Let's hear from Wyatt Miller, his side of the story on the Matthew Parade incident, and then his progression throughout the week.
I got a good run on him coming out of turn 2, and I was inside of him, and he just started coming down the track, and I was there. So that's that, and we were able to go back out and finish, I think, 7th or something. So pretty solid.
You've had 4 races under your belt in the late model stock so far. Take me through the learning process this week, and how much have you progressed as a driver?
Yeah, I mean, I think I finished 19th the first night, and then ran 13th, and then 8th, and then now 7th. So definitely learning a lot every night and getting better.
1 hour and 26 minutes later, the longest 50-lap late model race ever concluded past the midnight hour and into Saturday morning. Just a few short hours later, we were back at the track Saturday afternoon for the 100-lap championship finale, which was won by, of course, champion of Speedweek's Matt Cox. Buddy, I said in the call to the finish that Matt Cox has become the king of the Eastern Carolinas in the late model stock car division. Do we think that's true? Do we think he's underrated? Where does Matt Cox stand in the late model stock car hierarchy right now?
I tell you what, I've been covering late model stock car racing for a little over a year and a half now, and I think Matt Cox has won just as many races as anyone else I've covered since beginning on this journey. I mean, I think he's well underrated for sure. I mean, he's track championships. He won the I-95 showdown last year. He won the icebreaker last year. He just won Speedweek, and in commanding fashion, winning 3 races in a row. I mean, I think what did you say? You said what did you dub him?
The king of the Eastern Carolinas in late model stock car racing. I mean,
Yep.
you look
Sounds
at
like
Florence,
it fits to me.
You look at Southern National. He's
Yeah.
In the past year and a half, he's won almost everything meaningful to win, except for the 400
Thanksgiving
itself
class. Yeah.
and the classic itself. Those are the only two things missing, which, yes, that seems like a big deal, but he's consistently winning so many races. He's got 3 Florence track championships. Now he's won Speed Weeks. He's won the combined championship of the 2 tracks. Like, if you're going to win on the East Coast of North and South Carolina, chances are you're going to go through the Aaron's Dream Machine. That's what it is.
An absolute nightmare for
he's
the
a humble
competition.
man. He probably wouldn't take that tagline, but I might have to start using it if he's going to keep winning all these races.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think the word of the week was procedural for Matt Cox, and that says something. It was as advertised, procedural, whatever you want to call it. As I just said, it was a nightmare for the competition. He put an ass whooping on him this entire week, and I think the next I-95 race, I think if there was betting in late model stock car racing, I'd put a few bucks down on the old Dream Machine for sure. Matt Cox, championship at Speed Weeks. He takes us through the week. I mean, he faced some absolute fierce competition, Truck Series competitors. Landon Lewis, the defending Cars Tour champion, he went up against them and held his own for sure, and then won the week as a whole. And he enlightens us on how he did that, and also how much winning Speed Week at Southern National meant to driver 51.
It was a tough competition, here all week. We were pretty good on Wednesday night. We were a little off, and had to work. We worked on it Thursday and made some adjustments that really helped it and set it on fire, I felt like, Thursday night. And then, we split those wins with Kaden on Thursday night, and he's one of the best there is, and we were able to split wins with him, and and then win Friday night, win Saturday night, and it weren't easy any of those nights, and we had to run hard today. We ran a lot harder earlier in the race than probably wanted to. Didn't really want to let the 54 get away, and then we were able to kind of, when he started to fade, take control of the race and kind of get a gap for ourselves and ride some. But all in all, it was a good week for us, and a lot of momentum to start the year off, and we look forward to just trying to continue that if we can.
Where does this stack up in all your accomplishments?
I mean, this is probably at the top, to come here and run, you run 4 nights, 5 races in 4 nights, and, we get 3 wins, a second and a third, and, you really couldn't come in here this week, if you'd have told us that was going to be the deal, we probably wouldn't thought it was going to be that good. That's what we all hope for when we come, but, you really couldn't ask for a better week than what we had, and just thankful for that, and thankful for everyone that makes this possible, and be able to run at a high level in this late model stock cars.
En route to his victory on Saturday afternoon, Matt Cox had to go through the 54 car of Michael Fose, who had an eventful week of his own. Race 1 of Speed Weeks, he had a cut tire that took him out of contention in race 1, as well as race 2 and race 3 as well, because of damage that was caused from the flat tire to the rear end. Jared Fryer, who had been helping Fose throughout the week, hopped in the car for race number 4 to get things checked out after they changed the rear end. And then race 5, Michael Fose went out and put it on the outside pole, and then led the 43 of the first 44 laps of race number 5 and finished 3rd. A great run for Michael Fose. Wanted to give a call to him. Now, Chuck, as you know, all across the nation, late models owned Saturday night. So let's take a look at this past week's winners from across the nation. Down in Montgomery, Alabama, it was one of the most prestigious pro late model races of the year, the Alabama 200, and it was won by Jake Finch, who had probably turned more laps at Montgomery than anywhere else in his career. Finally, the hunt for the bear was fruitful. Hickory Motor Speedway had their opening night, and Michael Bumgarner continues his dominance at Hickory Motor Speedway, winning the first race of their weekly tour. Chuck, what do we have coming up across the nation?
It's a diverse palette of late model racing coming up the next couple weeks. The ASA Stars heads down to Five Flag Speedway this Saturday, March 14th for the Sunshine State 200. The Pro All-Star Series comes down from the Northeast for their lone trip to the South, the Easter Bunny 200 at Hickory, and the Cars Tour West Super Late Models in action at Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway. That is all Saturday, March 14th. The following weekend, the opening of the South Boston Speedway Late Model Stock Car season on March 21st. Tri-County Speedway opens their late model stock car season on March 21st. And the reason we will see you all again, the Rattler 250 at South Alabama Speedway, the richest payday in super late model racing history at South Alabama. Last but certainly not least, my favorite segment on the show, hot topic across the nation. And there's an epidemic in late model stock car racing right now. The bug bit Chase Burgesson and Elio Meza at Southern National this past week, and that is the sickness of the shifter and going 3 to 4. It's a really expensive mistake, and it needs to stop sometime soon.
Yeah, to quote my favorite Greek philosopher, Andrew Grady, Landon Huffman also, for any of you late model stock car racer, not even late model stock, any late model racer, any racer out there in the world that needs a quick tutorial on how to shift your race car, Landon Huffman was courteous enough to give you a Bill Nye the Science Guy-esque explanation of such task. Yeah, this is ridiculous. I mean, we saw it a lot last year. Cordeal was the glaring example in the Cars Tour, and then twice this week we saw issues with this.
The South Carolina 250 also happened. Look, if you're a race car driver, you should know how to do it. And I don't want to hear anybody come after us and say, "Oh, Chase, buddy, Chuck, buddy, let's see you guys do it." We're not professional race car drivers. We shouldn't have to do it. We don't pay tens of thousands of dollars to run a late model program all year. You, the late model driver, should probably know how to do it. Because when you don't, you cost everybody a whole lot of money. And you typically, them more so than you. It's not that daggum hard. Landon showed us. It's like 2 steps. Like, I'll give Moonhead a shout out. Spanky the Pig could probably do it. If Spanky can do it, you can do it.
I mean, you're not getting any argument on this
what
show.
It is.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. It's got to stop sometime soon. It's in limited late model racing, pro late model racing, late model stock car racing.
It's just flat unacceptable. At the end of the day, it is unacceptable. This doesn't just fall on the driver. Like I said earlier with the Matthew Parade incident with Wyatt Miller, it doesn't just fall on the driver. It falls on the team. This needs to be a thing where this needs to be done in practice. We can't have this, we can't have this be, you're lined up on a restart. You've worked hard all race long to get where you are. You're lined up on a restart, and because you make a very elementary mistake and cost yourself probably a good finish, and then probably others a lot of money in race cars. So that's going to do it for this episode of On Tour. The next episode will follow the Rattler 250 here in just a couple weeks. But before we go, Chuck, you have something else, some good news coming out of Greenville Pickens Speedway.
Yeah, last night, the Pickens County Development Commission denied the developer's request to tear down and replace Greenville Pickens Speedway with some warehouses. So for now, for the next 60 days, until the developers have the opportunity to resubmit that request, the racetrack is safe. Now, obviously, this doesn't mean permanent survival, but just to give you an idea of who we're fighting, the developers decided to list Sunshine Speedway as an example of a track that no longer exists, but has a memorial website in its place. They were dumbfounded to find out that track reopened in 2012 after its closure in 2004 as Showtime Speedway at Pinellas Park. So clearly they don't do their research, and race fans do. Hopefully the race fans can outsmart and outlast the developers down in Pickens County.
And for those developers, here's your sign. I can't think of a better place to leave us or leave you with a support your local short tracks. 2 weeks from now, we'll see you after the Rattler. Until then.